Kelsabeth a long moment to accept the town waiting on the other side of the gate as real. As the SUV passed each crossroads, a quick glance from left to right became a dizzying experience. Every street, every house, every yard, every fence, and every hedgerow exactly mirrored its neighbor. Other than the numbers on the otherwise identical mailboxes, none of the properties differed from the next. At all. Even the length of the Kentucky bluegrass was a uniform height in every lawn. This is much, much more than just a planned community.
Welcome back to Visited by Voices. I am your moderator, not in moderation, Sam Carlson, and we are on week 3 of the Readers Roundtable for Divide by Zero. So, just going to be a couple of us hanging out today, and I have Mike, the real Fifth Beatle, with me. How's it going, Mike?
What's up, Jess? Jess? Sam? I don't know where I got Jess from.
Like boy Jess or girl Jess?
Sorry.
No,
girl Jess, actually.
We're off to a great start.
Sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
I do apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. So this week we're covering pages I almost said 190. That's next week. Now I'm doing it. This week we're covering pages 121 to 189. And how long did this take you to read? Because you said you usually read it on a Sunday, right?
Yeah, so I've read this is the second read through for this section of the book. So the first time I've read from 120 to 190, it probably took me a few days, but I read it in one go this afternoon, literally, like a few hours ago. Yeah. I did scare through a few pages, which I kind of remembered more than the others, but yeah, literally just to make some notes. But yeah, I mean, I am a slow reader. I've said this from the start. I do struggle sometimes if I start to lose my concentration, then I just tend to just turn off and then come back to it at a later point. But this is like I say, I think it just gets better and get a bit. I like the opening sort of like 60 pages, but I like this focus more on Kelsabeth now that we get, because this entire part of the book is literally from Kelsabeth's POV.
And I love how much world building there is.
Yeah, and I'll get into I still can't pronounce it. Perihelion. Now we're getting into the sort of nitty gritty of it now, and it's we're starting to get a lot of info dumps, and we're starting to really get more things are going down now, and things are being set up regarding eyes and things like that, where you're thinking, well, where's this going? So
yeah, and I like just seeing all the environment that's built up in Perihelion, because it sounds bizarre, just like a town cut off from the rest of the world, to the point where it's like they have their own private airspace. Like if somebody flew over their airspace, like would they declare war? Like what if we sent like a little Chinese spy balloon in there? What would happen?
Yeah. Well, it's that you wonder as well that the amount of money needed to ensure that there's a no-fly zone. I would imagine that'd be fairly expensive.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that all of that money came from book sales of Perihelion.
Yeah.
So I am quite curious about that. So I guess we just we just start off with Kelsabeth and Jamie arriving there, and it's in typical fashion, they can't take really any of their belongings with them, not from their old lives, and they have to go through this process which is called truing, which it's like every time I read that, I was just like, oh man, I'm truing so hard. I don't know. Yeah. Just like, it's like, is this like edging? Probably.
Because we're still not really any of the wise, they've mentioned it, but because they're still in the beginning stages of they've only been guests there for a few days. We're not really, I mean, unless I've missed something, we're still not entirely sure what that involves.
Are we? I still don't know what it is they're supposed to do as initiates.
Yeah, they've clearly, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but clearly that I'm guessing that when they go through this process, and apparently they do it throughout their stay. You know, it's not something you do as a newbie, and then once you've done it, then you're accepted. That's something they do continuously throughout the stay, because they all apparently do it. But it does seem to be in some way connected to, I'm guessing, the eye issue that seems to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the way I'm reading. That's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is gonna. All right, I'm gonna get myself canceled with this one. But it's like, if there was a mob of perihelions after them, would they be easier to avoid because of the lazy eyes? They'd just be going in directions.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm so sorry. This is what happens when you leave me in charge of podcasts. But then it's not just like not necessarily just all the townspeople have a lazy eye, but also there's the console. They have special lazy eyes because they're like a lighter color than the other ones. So,
yeah,
and they're the ones that guard like the old house where Virgil Meadowlark was born and where he also died.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm like, I'm still not sure how they've gotten the lazy eyes, but how do you get like the special console lazy eyes? You know, do you have to be in your current role as like a perihelion for like 6 months before you can apply for a promotion? I mean, that's for the course, par for the course there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a sense of like the hierarchy there, because at the minute you've got the women who run the houses. You've got the console. Are they like one level above? You know, because we're not really. We've been introduced to some of the characters, but we're not. There's not really anybody who seems, apart from obviously Meadowlark himself, who's dead apparently. Although in one scene, they seem to mention the fact that we wait sometimes to see if he comes down for dinner, and then Kelsebeth says, "But he's dead," or Jamie says he's dead. So we're still not really sure at this point who's really running the show. If there is any one person.
Well, I mean, what I thought was, you know, as far as I, interpret it, he's dead, but they set a place for him at dinner every night. And like the whole town eats dinner together, which is wild. And yeah, I remember I think it was one of them asking, and then Kelsebeth just thinking, but he'd dead. And I was like, yes. And I mean, I don't think that's like a typo. I think it's like, but he dead. Like, like, I don't know, maybe just her slang slipping in there. So I thought that was a really funny part. Nice little point. Also, okay, so when they arrive and they have to disrobe in front of each other to try to put on their new clothes, you know, and that's part of like their truing. It's like the shedding of their old skin. But like the first thing I thought was like, bitch, your nipples just got tattooed.
Yeah.
Oh no. So I was like, Kelsebeth, cover up your stariolas, please. But so, you know, also I feel like Kelsebeth is the type of lady that has more than just those tattoos. You know, because I mean, she has like her own personal tattoo artist on call.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like maybe one under the like on the sternum right here, like right across the ribs under your chest.
Well, that's the thing as well. I was thinking she's obviously gone in there under the pretense of being somebody else, and they seem to know a lot about the way they dress. Everything's set out for them. And I was thinking to myself, the tattoos, would that in some way maybe give something away about her, which she didn't really want revealing, because they're all going in as basically other people, right? You know, it's so I wasn't quite sure how that could possibly affect her ability to stay like undercover, so to speak. But
yeah, also because like, you know, she does she does sleep with one of the other characters later on. And I'm like, did he see them? I'm sure he saw them.
Yeah.
Like that has to raise some suspicions.
I was always curious as well, as you know, the way they've got everything down, like in terms of how they dress, and I think Jamie says that they'd be going through their internet search history. So I was curious, like, you know, just how did they manage to it's like they know everything about you, you know.
Yeah, it's social media. That's why you can't like put too much out there these days. And also like, okay, so during the truing, this was great because they're disrobing in a church, right? Which is like the center of the town. And you've got Lee Baldwin, who I guess I think he kind of takes care of the church, maybe, perhaps. But anyway, dude, last time we had a Baldwin in a church, bad shit went down. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
But I got some. It was funny because I was like casting in my head, and I was like, "Why does this guy remind me of like?" Because it's like his last name is Baldwin. I should be thinking about a Baldwin, but I'm thinking like it comes off as like Joe Biden for some reason. Biden Baldwin, maybe.
When he mentions he doesn't really, there's something creepy about the way he carries himself. Like it's part of, which I kind of gave off, images like almost like the when she described how he walked, it was almost like that character from the Conjuring films. The one, I think it's Conjuring 2.
The skinny man, the spin.
Yes, he's got a name, but I can't think what his name is. I kind of got images of just somebody walking around like in a sort of really weird way, but
yeah. Oh no, I could see that. Yeah. Also, and then like I hate the fact that they had to walk outside barefoot. I don't know, that bothers me because I'm always like, no, you're gonna get glass stuck in your foot or something. I know that's a weird little quirk.
But the way it's the way the town's been described as well. It's like there's not a stone out of place. If it's just, it kind of reminded me in the opening page of on page 121, and the way they describe the whole setup for the town. Everything's identical mailboxes. The Kentucky bluegrass, which means nothing. I don't even know what that means. You'd have to explain what Kentucky bluegrass is, because I've got no idea what Kentucky bluegrass is. All right. So yeah, I don't know if anybody knows what Kentucky bluegrass is. I don't know. So I was just scratching my head with that one.
It should be
I'm guessing it's a type of grass, but it's not.
I mean, as far as I know, but yeah, Kentucky bluegrass. It is a type of grass. That makes sense. I know. I don't look, guys. I barely go outside. Look how pale I am. I know you're screaming at me right now. It's fine.
It just gave. It just gave. Have you ever seen a movie called Vivarium from a few years ago? It's the whole.
Is that the one with all the identical houses?
Yeah, the movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
it was good.
I mean, when the description of that, I kind of got flashbacks to that film, and they're just driving around, and every single house is exactly the same as the next one, and it just goes on forever. Obviously, this is that was more of a fantasy land. It was, this is obviously very grounded in reality, but it definitely got those sort of vibes from the description.
Yeah, and also it's kind of planned out in a way that it's like a spider web with the church in the middle, right? And the church is still original, and then the old house is still original, but everything else is new construction, like with all those identical houses.
Yeah.
But it seems like, from the way Kelsebeth describes the landscape at one point, that it kind of like dips down. And I just got the idea of like a black hole with like the way everything kind of like just convenes, into a point. So that was neat. What did you think about the bridge? Because the bridge is brought up quite a few times in this section, the covered bridge.
Yeah, is that what, did you have to cross the bridge to get to the old house?
Yeah.
Are they at the bridge where they see the creature escapes me? It's like an elk or something. They see it.
Yeah, I think so.
Are they at the bridge at that point?
I think it might have been around there, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to make of that, to be fair. I'm still not entirely sure what's going on with the whole surrounding area, because one of the first trips away from the house, and there doesn't seem to be any wildlife. There's not even the sound of squirrels or owls. which
Yeah.
kind of feels feels very odd. Almost like you're thinking, is this off limits to even creatures? It's so out there. But and then I think the following night, then things have reverted back to normal. So
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to be that's probably going to be an important detail later. I'm not sure how yet, but yeah, I did notice that because that was kind of eerie, just no animals anywhere. With the bridge, what stuck out to me about that is the bridge is new construction, but they patterned it after a design that, it's an older design that you don't really see anymore. So I'm like, well, so much for leaving the past in the past, guys.
yeah,
So, but I mean, it's, perihelion is not exact. Everybody's got their own hypocrisy, but there are a few in perihelion like that, and then also the fact that you can't fly over perihelion, but you can hire outside help to do like the cooking and the cleaning, except for dinner. Dinner's
that
off
was
limits again.
and that was I can't remember the name of the woman who comes in to give Kelsebeth the coffee.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
mispronouncing it, I'm sure.
but that it's emphasised that she says we don't do dinners, we do breakfast, lunch, and I'm thinking what the dinners is where she goes and has the introductory sort of meeting of all like 600 of them,
Yeah.
and everything seems almost too good to be true. And I'm thinking at this point, is there a reason why they don't do the dinners, and that is done specifically by the perihelions? And I'm thinking, is
Yeah.
this something to do with, because Kelsey Beth thinks when she's eating the fish, is this going to give me the funny eye? So
Yeah.
the
I mean,
paranoia is kicking in
everybody just has mercury poisoning. That's why they have lazy eyes. It's nothing
because
supernatural.
because they don't have the people they ship in from the nearest town don't have it because they're
Yeah.
not part. So it's obviously something that is specific for people who stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make me wonder how they go about. You'd think they'd be ultra paranoid about them revealing any secrets to the outside world.
I know.
Because you'd think that these people they're on good money. She makes it clear that she's putting her daughter through college, but you'd think that with that many people coming in to help, that you'd think by now maybe someone would have like said, can you get something out, get some information out? Here's $10,000, more than what they even earn there. So
Yeah.
it's
Or even just go and, get hired as the help and then sneak out a bunch of secrets. I mean, somebody's going to want to know what's in there.
yeah.
Yeah, that was, that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And I really enjoyed also like the luxurious description of the food that Kelsey Beth was getting for breakfast, because breakfasts are delightful and probably my favorite meal of the day.
Yeah.
But what I enjoy more than just food porn is descriptions of food, like lavish descriptions. And I noticed there was a lot of that in here. And it kind of reminded me of the way Danielle Trussoni wrote in The Ancestor, like everything's so descriptive because it's just like you feel like you feel like you're actually there. And it just brought me back to that.
I also love the description Lauren had for like when she gets the letter and it's sealed with wax. And then she goes into to how, and she goes and he mentions about a Japanese way of doing these fancy and I was like this. I just love the description of it, and like it's something I've never heard of as well. So, Lauren's obviously done his homework, and I had no idea that this thing existed, but I love the description of that. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, and also the envelope that Kelsebeth receives with the wax on it.
Yeah.
All that, the description of that too. That reminded me of like in Hannibal by Thomas Harris, where they're talking about like what oils and scents were on that letter and the kind of like the fine intricacy of the paper that it was written on that Hannibal sends to Clarice initially.
Yeah.
It was just that was lovely. So let's see. We've been introduced to Isavis, and she's kind of, Kelsebeth spends a while looking for her team. Like most of this chunk is her, trying to make a plan, and it is a little bit difficult because she doesn't have any way of accessing anybody. So I believe she sees both Neil, Raleigh, and Green at dinner, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Green is not. I think the first dinner, Green hasn't arrived yet, has he?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I think he was still. Yeah, he still hadn't arrived. It was Neil.
Yeah.
And Raleigh were there though.
Oh, also the fish at the first meal. I wanted to eat it so badly. I'm sorry, but it's so very true.
Sturgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never eaten sturgeon.
I don't think I have, but I like
Well,
fish in general.
Aren't sturgeon about 15 meters long? Aren't they enormous?
I'm sure there are big sturgeon and little sturgeon. I don't know.
There's a lot of people think the Loch Ness monster is a sturgeon, so I'm guessing
Really?
some sturgeon must be enormous.
Oh, man, I must be missing out. That sounds like a fish worth my time. She's a 7 to 10 feet. Holy crap!
That's a big fish.
That's longer than Chris. Wow. Okay. I'm just imagining it. Okay. I remember when Subway used to do catering and they have these long foot-longs that would take up conference room tables. I'm just imagining that, but with a fish now.
Yeah.
So they kind of, Kelsebeth kind of has a chance to communicate through library books. And that's where we also get to know Ren, who also was the driver for her and Jamie. He's also the librarian. And it must be really nice, because everybody in this town, they have, I guess it's about...
Can you just give me 2 seconds? Let me just close the door.
Yeah, no, you're good. So, anyway, now the mic's gone. Quick, let's talk about him. So, anyway, the way it is with the library is that Ren has the whole house to himself, and it's just books. And most of these houses, well, all of these houses in Perihelion are pretty much the same, where it's one house and it's got maybe 10 suites. And all of these suites have their own... Hey, welcome back, Mike.
Sorry, but my dog wants to join the stream, and I was like, no.
Oh, you can let the doggy in. The cat's joining me on the stream.
Because he just paces around and gets in the way, and she's not, dogs aren't like cats. They're just annoying.
But everybody loves dogs, and they get more viewers.
I love dogs, but not when I'm trying to do a stream.
Yeah. So I was explaining to the audience about the way the houses are all set up. So it's about 10 suites in each of these houses. And but Ren has the whole house to himself because he's the librarian, so he has to have literally all the books ever. And I was like, that's pretty sweet. It's you could just have books as your roommates instead. But okay. Here's the thing. Now, why is it that I'm imagining if I moved into Perihelion because man, fuck regular society. I gotta get away from this. I gotta start over. I'm gonna go somewhere where I can just, focus on the future, right? And it's so secluded and private. There can be nobody's flying over it, right? But somehow I still have to put up with fucking Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I'm surprised there was a mention of Twilight. Now, I don't know whether when he mentions that he kind of rolls his eyes at the love for Twilight amongst the Perihelions. Now, I took that. I was kind of thinking, is that the newcomers who arrive before they intrude? Or because I kind of find it hard to imagine that people who have gone through the process and are, devout Perihelions, I kind of can't find it hard to imagine that they're renting out the Twilight books and enjoying them. I don't know. It's just...
I guess they're not evolved enough to not enjoy Twilight. Which, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because I'm trying to get an idea of what the rest of the Perihelions are like. because
Yeah,
the
'cause-
ones that we tend to see, we've mostly seen so far, a couple of them were kind of just like in zombie mode, just making sure Kelsebeth didn't go where she wasn't supposed to be. But then there are other perihelions, that perhaps it's because they've been there longer and they've had time to acclimate, but they seem almost like normal people, like Lady Linda, and she's the house mother of Kelsey Beth and Jamie's house that they're staying in. So,
yeah,
and
there's all.
Ren's different.
I think we kind of automatically at this point assuming that. Well, I'm at this point. We're kind of assuming that they're all slightly sinister, but like I say, you've only met really a few of like the leaders. The normal perihelions who did go there the way Kelsebeth's gone there. They could be completely normal, innocent people who, at this point, we still don't know. So, it's we're getting a lot more stuff revealed, but nothing's overtly sinister has happened apart from maybe, obviously, what we haven't discussed yet around Greybeard. That's probably one of the few things where it's clearly there's something going on where maybe against the will they're being forced into situations they don't want to be in.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because I'm wondering if Greybeard is just kind of like one of the outliers, right? That they have to kind of, hey, I'm gonna just help. I'm just gonna nudge you along, wink, wink. Just let me convince you. Because it seems like a lot of people do what, like the ones that have the ones like Lady Linda, they do want to be there, but it's like we're not going to hear about their past lives outside of it. But the rest of them, it's like, what are they doing all day?
Yeah.
How do they spend their time? Because they're not cooking or cleaning, and I'm guessing they probably don't do much in the way of manual labor.
Well, they're not outdoors either, because
No.
Kelsey mentions the fact that where are the people? This is like middle of the morning, and the streets are empty.
Yeah.
So what do they do?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Is that why they have a library? Because they have to pass the time somehow? I don't think that they probably have TV because, what happened? That's also the thing. So it's like we're leaving the past behind, but we have books, right?
Yeah.
Which, essentially, and I mean, I guess that we have to know history in Perihelion. Also, what are the kids like here? What are the schools like?
Yeah, I can only imagine it's something like The Wicker Man, the Nicolas Cage film.
Not the bees. Yeah, and so it's like you guys just have an inordinate amounts of free time, I mean,
has there been any mention of any kids? I don't remember. I don't know. There's a mention of a school, right? But I don't think I've heard.
I haven't seen any kids mentioned, but I'm just assuming that people be fucking in Perihelion still, so there got to be kids somewhere. But it's interesting because it's kind of described as, like Ren kind of describes it as a place where it's like if everybody started out equally, right? Left everything behind, right? But at the same time, you have fucking maids, so I mean, again, that's why I think I'm really interested in Perihelion in general because everything kind of like, hey, we do this. Oh, we're just flipping that on its head. So it's like it's kind of the whole everything and nothing.
There's definitely some hypocrisy in their attitude and the way they go about their lives, the Perihelions. Whether they even know, whether they even realize they're being hypocritical, I don't know. Maybe they may feel that they're so elevated and righteous that they don't see it. But to outsiders, it's clear that they are being like acting slightly hypocritical with the way they live their lives.
Yeah, what do you think Ren used to do in his old life?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a taxi driver. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't really done it. He's just gone from being a taxi. I don't know.
He just drove over into
I think maybe like I'd like to think that he was like a cop or
something
like that. I definitely. So
He's definitely a hoarder.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I got it. My cat's visiting. See, it's okay. We can
I
have pets on
definitely-
the stream, Mike.
When it comes to casting choices, I'd love to see Stephen Lang as Greybeard. I think that would be a nice one.
I don't think I came up with one for Greybeard, actually. I could see that though, definitely.
I could just see like a tall, slender guy, you know, with a grey beard, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just him. He came into mind. I'm thinking of the movie where he plays the blind guy. I just thought of him in. Yeah, I thought of him in that when I thought of him. I thought of Greybeard in the scenes, but.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that.
Not Avatar Stephen Lang. Definitely not Avatar Stephen Lang. Definitely Don't Breathe Stephen Lang.
I didn't know there was a second Stephen Lang. Are we talking about Avatar the Airbender or Avatar the Blue People?
Oh, Blue People.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine. I'm not going to get around to watching that. I was thinking, like, for casting for Ren initially, I had like some Jonah Hill vibes from him, but I'm pretty much going to revise that, and it's like wow, it's awkward because it's like here, you're imagining everybody in these scenes, and Ren at the beginning of this section, I was kind of like, I think he reminds me a little bit more of like Richard Kind. He's on Spin City, more of a comedic actor, right? But still kind of guy that would look like, he would be like a driver for a cult. Sorry, Richard Kind. No shade if you're out there. And then it's like later on, like he and Kelsey Beth get it on, and I'm like, wow, that is the weirdest slash fiction I've ever written. Liz Phair and Richard Kind. Okay. Oh boy. And I thought it was interesting where she's talking about she's kind of like, she almost feels an emotion after she sleeps with him.
Yeah, she mentions like it's like he's left something in her, like metaphorically as well as physically.
Yeah.
Which was a bit creepy sounding a little bit. I was like, I don't know where.
Just a little, I did like that introspection about her wondering why exactly it is. It's like, well, why does she also play that game with Fisher all the time? Because, why does she kind of care about this thing that just happened? Because it's not like...
the description of the sex with Ren, the way she described it is like, it almost made it sound like she was sleeping with a robot almost, it like sort of like there wasn't much. Very. She said, I think, I don't know if Lord describes it as mechanical or along those lines anyway, where there was almost like something, there was something missing from him during the sex,
Yeah, and
like like a human element, almost like a.
Yeah, but I mean, I find that interesting that something was missing from the sex for her, because sex seems to be mostly utilitarian anyway. With Kelsey Beth. It's usually used there's a means to an end a lot of times, right?
Yeah, it's getting the job done, and that means sleeping with someone, then so be it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not going to slut shame you, but I don't know. Is that the best Perihelion has to offer? But I mean, I guess it's fine if she's trying to get more information, but she also needed the Don Quixote book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she also had there were a couple of dreams I thought that were quite interesting.
Yeah, that's the is it? I forgot. I should have circled it. Is it about? There's a recurring line as she wakes up from sleep, which I've forgotten what it is. Is it about a bull? Was it a bull?
Yeah, they're coming to kill the last bull.
Yeah, and because that's mentioned, I think, twice during this section as she wakes up.
So, and then also she has a dream about a Cape buffalo initially, right? And I was like, oh, Cape buffalo. Okay, well, that's interesting. It's like I'm into dream symbolism, so I look it up. And, I found this information. So if you're in trouble and dream of a buffalo standing and facing you, you'll find a friend who will help you get out of trouble. But on the other hand, if you dream about being chased by a buffalo, it's believed you'll be attacked and defeated by a very powerful enemy. So, could go either way. And I was wondering, like, maybe if there's a connection between the Cape Buffalo and the bull. And I found that you can breed a bull and a bison, and you get a beefalo.
Oh,
Which
right.
I'm just like, okay, I know Lauren's not going to write a fucking beefalo in this fucking into this book, so I was like, I'm going to toss that idea out the window.
I never knew that.
Oh man,
I knew you can breed a lion and a tiger and get a liger, which are like these
yeah,
like
I mean, you
10
can.
feet tall, like ginormous cats.
More giant cats, all of the giant cats, yes. Yeah, you can, but you can't breed like a Cape Buffalo with a bison. I mean, sorry, a bull. They don't have the same number of chromosomes as cattle. So I think they have 52 compared to 60, which is like, oh, I learned something new today. I still kind of would like a beefalo in this book, though, just a little bit. And it's also and she has that dream a couple of times, with the buffalo in it.
Yeah.
But it's like I think the second time it has human teeth, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna nope the right the fuck out. Because you know how I am with like things that shouldn't have teeth.
Do buffalo not have teeth then?
Huh?
Do buffalo not have teeth?
I mean, but human teeth.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no,
Yeah,
because I know that like cows don't have teeth, right? So I thought maybe buffaloes didn't have teeth either. Cows don't have teeth, do they?
Yeah, they have teeth.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's why they just eat grass, because they use the tongue to.
Oh no, they got teeth.
Okay.
But as far as like,
I'm just
I don't
sounding
know
up now.
what the difference is between like bison teeth and cow teeth. Oh, so well, I'm seeing a lot of bison teeth like by themselves, but I'd like to see some teeth with like in the mouth of the bison, but maybe that's a little difficult. But anyway, this one had human teeth, and I just hate anything that has human teeth because I have such a phobia about teeth. So it's like, oh wow, thanks, Lauren. You just put that in there to really freak me out. I'm gonna be having nightmares about buffalo with human teeth from now on. So what do you think the Cape Buffalo and the bull mean?
At this stage, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I don't, because I don't. The way Dan describes the way the book finishes up, it sounds like it's going to go pretty out there. So the way I've kind of been reading the book so far, I'm expecting it to just go do a complete 180. So I don't really know if what means what. North is south. Left is right at this point. It could be. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's been pretty. I mean, it's been a bit. Obviously, the idea of a cult in the middle of nowhere, is pretty weird. It's not normal, but it sounds like, from what Dan says, I mean, he's not spoiled anything, but it sounds like it goes pretty crazy in the last 100 pages. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether anything we read we can take for granted at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm not exactly sure what to expect after the reveal of the MacGuffin, and I'm like,
oh, we haven't even discussed that, have we yet?
No, we mostly, I mean, we can't really, no spoilers on the MacGuffin, because that I don't know. I don't know. Did Dan say, do we need to specify what the MacGuffin is if he's already read ahead?
I don't. I mean, are we allowed to? I mean, obviously, we're talking. Is that considered a spoiler? Too much of a spoiler for the book? Are we allowed to go into too much information, or?
Okay, cool. Now, spoilers. Stuff is getting ruined. So yes, we can. So they have to go like a big, probably one of the biggest points of this section is that they do get to see the thing. They get to see the MacGuffin. It's kind of like evidence of whatever it is the Parahelions believe in. Do you know what section that was in, Mike?
I'm just looking through it now. I did circle it. You have to explain. I mean, a MacGuffin, I think, is an American term because we don't use that in the UK. So what does MacGuffin mean?
It's like just a plot device for furthering a
Okay,
story.
maybe it is used. It's not something I've.
Yeah, so they go on to this field trip to the old house where Virgil Meadowlark was born. And it's
Yeah.
it's all of the new arrivals. And they pull out the. Do you want to read that part, actually?
Yeah, I've got it circled now.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll use my best audible voice I can. With a careful hand, Lady B covered the rock in the cloth and turned it over in her hand. Then she unwrapped it again. This time there were involuntary gasps from the new arrivals, but not all at once. It took a moment for many to grasp what they saw. One of the new arrivals, an older man with a hairline well past receding, stumbled on his feet before steadying himself with the shoulders of those around him. That's, Kelsey Beth thought, fucking impossible. Can't be real. But it was also impossible not to recognise what she saw. Lady B held a rock containing the fossil of a cellular phone. While she didn't recognise the model, she knew the type. A flip phone popular in the early 2000s with a 1.5-inch LCD screen and large buttons in a grid. So,
Hey, does it play Snake?
yeah, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I know. It's like.
So,
Magic Rock, okay, got it. Magic Rock with a cell phone in it, did not see coming. So, do you think maybe time travel? If it's been fossilized in that?
That was kind of my initial thought, yeah.
Okay.
Because just the idea of the fossil of a cell phone just sounds so like what?
Oh yeah, and it's definitely one of the old Nokia bricks.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Well, wait, if it's a flip phone, maybe.
It sounds like I think I had one about 2005. The flip phones were kind of early 2001. I just had like a standard, it was all one phone, and then the flip phones, well, for me anyway, about 2004, I think 2005, when I got a flip phone.
God, it's been forever since I've had a flip phone. The last one I had, but I got it back in like 2010, and it was one of the last flip phone models out there. But it survived a fall off a balcony twice.
Yeah, well, they were a lot tougher back then. They made them tough in them days.
Yes, I know. They're not like the smartphones now. It's like if you sneeze on them, they're gone. Or if you update the software, they brick themselves. Thanks, T-Mobile. That's great. But yeah, I'm just, it's like, well, can I use the phone? Does the phone work? Can we get the phone out of the rock? I was also wondering, it's like, maybe it's like a cell phone made of a rock? Like there's no actual, maybe like it's just been absorbed into the rock and there's no actual phone there anymore.
Yeah, and like you say, she shows, they get shown and then that's it, and then they leave, and it's like, and Kelsey Beth says, what was the intention? What were they trying to say? Because it's not really explained. It's just, we've got this. Okay, off you go. It's like, okay, what do we do with this information?
Yes. Like, and how long does Kelsey Beth have between seeing that and then also getting the lazy eye? Is it like if you see that, does the lazy eye develop like does it on its own the longer you're there? Or
I think that's the question, isn't it? Like, what causes the lazy eye? At what point does that set in? We know Jamie hasn't got it yet. We know Kelsey Beth hasn't got it yet.
Oh my God, Jamie's gonna be so mad if she sees that she's got a lazy eye.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, nobody's gonna want to sleep with me. It's like, no, Jamie, you're fine. We're all equal here.
I hope Jamie survives okay.
Yeah, it's like, I feel bad, because she has the scar from heart surgery when she was, I'm guessing, probably a child. So I was like,
Yeah, that was like that came out of nowhere. That I didn't really see that. I was thinking, oh,
yeah. Also, did you notice there was kind of like a little like mini earthquake after they saw the MacGuffin?
I didn't. I must have skipped over that bit.
It was like a vibration.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe like, not quite a full earthquake, but maybe it was somewhat related to the earthquake the shape. It seems like there was kind of an earthquake happening in the news station at the beginning of the book, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of
Yeah.
strikes out. So also, maybe radiation.
Possibly.
Yeah. It's like maybe it's like because the rock itself is described as like red brownish, and I was like, well, that's probably not a kind of kryptonite. We were talking about this before, you know, with when in Blue Eel, I believe there's a fight scene in the quarry, and I was like, didn't that have red rock? I might have to go back and look that up as soon as I can remember where I put the Blue Eel book.
I was just double checking that they'd all seen the MacGuffin. I couldn't remember. They were all there.
I read that paragraph. I read that paragraph like 6 times trying to figure it out. Like, what is this? What is this cell phone rock? It was like a caveman cell phone. I don't know. But I'm just like, okay, yeah, what do you do with this information?
Yeah, it is. It's a strange one because you wonder, like, what is it about that is that meant to convert them into being like true believers of what the cause is? So obviously, because you think, well, there must be a reason why they're showing them.
Yeah. Do you think it's a flip phone that has a little antenna on it too? Because that was in my head for some reason. Like the little antenna was in the rock also.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I'm trying to connect dots and there aren't enough dots yet. Or there are too many dots and I can't make sense of them yet.
I mean, is there more to see? Obviously, the guy whose name escapes me, who asks the job to be done, who asks Kelsebeth to do the job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he knows there's something there. Now, does he just know one part of it? He doesn't know the bigger story. So he doesn't know there's a flip phone. But
I don't think anybody knows what it is, and that's why he wants it.
Well, he knows that exists. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows it exists. But he just knows that he knows about this. But how many more? You know, if you go down a rabbit hole, what else do they have that nobody has any awareness of? You know?
Yeah. Or what if this isn't even the only like MacGuffin? What if there are several?
Yeah. Because you think, why would there just be one?
Yeah, you know,
it makes sense.
A tablet in a rock. Geez. Let me see where my notes left off. Oh, hold on. I have a cat on my lap. 1 second. Oh, sorry, Lucy. Yeah, I mean, if you had to imagine the function that the MacGuffin has, have you come up with anything?
Honestly, in terms of a function, as in so what role it plays for the perihelions, or in terms of,
I mean, well, clearly it proves that clearly it's proof of something for them.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what it would be. But I'm just like, also, I'm still stuck on like, how did it get there? Why is it fossilized? Where from?
Yeah, I wasn't as well thinking with the reveal of this to the newcomers, is that a way of them kind of gauging their reactions, how they be treated going down the line? You know, if they don't react in a certain way, are they out the door? Are they disposed of? Or, you know, how does it? And there's a mention as well earlier on, I think in this section, but earlier on, about the people who live closer to the center. You know, the newcomers are placed on the outskirts, and they said, you know, houses don't come up very often for people who live close. And is that how long you've been there, or is that more how devout you are as a perihelion? You know, are the most devout of the perihelions? Do they get to live? Because there's obviously a status to
Yeah.
living closer to the church and closer to the centre of the town. And newbies are just
Yeah.
thrown onto the outskirts. Now, do you work your way towards the centre by people simply dying off, or is it a case of dedication to the cause gets you,
Yeah, that's a good question because, if we're just operating on the assumption that from what we've been told that perihelion all about like equality, everybody starting from the same point, would it be more equal to have for people to compete, with being better perihelions, like the more devoted you are, like a meritocracy through devotion? Or would it just be more fair to be like, well, we're all aging at the same rate. So if you're this age, you get to be closer to the center.
Yeah. There's definitely a status symbol to being closer, clearly.
Yeah. And I think that, one other, another thing that Ren was talking about is like, there's another building where all the city's business mostly is conducted. I'm just going to like flip through this real quick.
Also, if they're bringing in new recruits like Kelsey Beth, and obviously, like you wonder how often do they recruit? Do they recruit based on people dying, or are they expanding the town?
Yes.
Every so often, are they building new houses? Or
I was wondering that too. I was definitely wondering that because I was like, I mean, I know obviously people are going to die out. You got to shift things around. I don't think that there's any sort of limitations on their recruiting times. But you guys gotta build houses at some point, unless there's a specific reason why there are. Well, I don't know if it's mentioned that there are more than 39 houses. We know that Kelsey Beth and Jamie are in 39, but I don't know if there are any higher numbers than that. So, I mean, maybe 39 is significant also. Yeah, that's going to be really fun to figure out in the next section, though. So kind of this whole thing closes up with, after Kelsey Beth has gotten to putting out the messages via the library books, which is kind of cool. She and the rest of the team are going to essentially smash and grab that fucking rock.
Yeah.
And then we leave off after Kelsey Beth gets done doing the walk of shame, and there's she had picked up the Don Quixote book when she was at Ren's because she had a dream about it, and she sees it circled in there. He knows it all, like the same thing that she was doing with The Great Gatsby. So I don't know for sure yet, but maybe future Kelsey Beth sent past Kelsey Beth a message. Because I don't know if it would be any of the other people on the team.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory. Possibly. It's a really clever way of getting information around. I'd never even thought of that before as well. The idea of circling. It's a clever way of, certainly about mobile phones, to get information. It still seems.
I would definitely do that if I was in a pinch.
I'd love to know, because they seem to have like a vast library of books. I would have thought that the books would be very much, they'd be quite strict about what is allowed to be read.
Yeah.
Because you would kind of feel like they really wouldn't want people to be expanding the mind too much with too much, or
even learning about the past too much that might stir up old memories.
Yeah, with the outside world, even, once you've been fully embraced by the group and you're, the outside world no longer ceases to exist in a way. So I always feel it's a bit like the Truman Show, which, it's like that self-contained world where you don't, even though he's in a prison, but he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get those vibes now that you've brought that up. That's probably what I was thinking of. Also, thank you for pointing out Vivarium earlier, because I had completely forgotten the name of that movie. Okay. So I mean, I guess, that is pretty much the best place to leave off for this week, since unless there is anything else you wanted to cover that we didn't.
I do like the mention, like it's Jamie is kind of considered, slightly naive about the world, and I like that. I think in the opening page, was it one page? What page? 120. Kelsey mentions Easy Pass.
Oh yeah.
And actually, and it's like Ren. No, Ren understands, even though he's a perihelion, he lives in this, gated community, like separated from the outside world. He's aware of it because he has to use it as part of his job. But it's like Jamie's completely oblivious to it. So it's like, even though he lives in this gated community, separated from the outside world, he's kind of like more clued up about a lot of modern technology than what Jamie is, because Jamie's had like this rural upbringing.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what I mean?
I think the hair dye had a lot to do with that too. It's a little too much bleach. But yeah, I'm interested to see how Jamie progresses as a person. It'll be fun.
Hope it doesn't. Hope she doesn't get the lazy eye. That's all I can say.
Oh my god! It's like, oh god. Oh, you were so pretty until you got that lazy. Oh man, there are so many other worse jokes I thought of for this week, but yeah, no, just not going to do that. All right, so next week we're officially halfway through the book now. Isn't that cool? And next week we are going to be doing pages 190 through 244. So, as always, if you want to join in on the discussion as part of the panel, feel free to drop me or Lauren a DM. And, you can always just jump in the chat and bring up anything that comes to mind, too. Mike, you got anything you want to plug? You got any shows coming up?
Probably going, Real Fifth Beetle on YouTube. Probably going live tonight, actually, about 11:30 UK time, which is like 6:30, I think, EST.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Hopefully, anyway. Hopefully,
Yeah, and the easiest way to remember, like, when you're going to be on, Mike, is if they hit they hit the little bell button, so they get a notification 30 minutes before. You guys should all do that.
Yeah.
So I'm just on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at SheebyJeebies, SH33BIE, J33BIES, if you want to follow me for some reason. I don't know why. But sure, until next time, we are going to head out. So I don't know, I have this weird craving for fish.